I'm going to show you a complete set of functional exercises to give you an abundant source of strength to perform your day-to-day activities without pain. We're going to begin with our warm-ups of sitting to lying down. So basically, it's as the name says, which is we're going to start sitting in a position that we're comfortable with, and then we're going to lay down and then come back up to a sitting position. So during this exercise, we want to try to make use of our whole body since it is the warm-up, and trying to really do the process in a slow and incremental way so that we don't accidentally pull anything, and we just want to be mindful of how we're actually navigating the different parts of our body to be able to go from a sitting position to a laying position and then back up to a sitting position. So in order to keep this exercise balanced, we're going to try to change at least once in between each type of repetition so that we're not doing the same movements over and over, and so that we can figure out which ones we are actually better at and then which sides we might not be better at, and working more on the sides that are more difficult so that we can achieve a sense of balance in our body. So without any more notice, we're going to go ahead and start with the first repetition, starting from a sitting position and then bringing ourselves down to a laying down position onto our back. Then from here, just breathing normally, bringing ourselves up to a seated position, back to our starting point. So this exercise should be mostly core based, so try not to rely too much on using your limbs, and do most of the work as much as you can from your core, so that at some point it'll be possible to just use your core to go down and then use your core to go up. So now that our body's a little bit more warm, we are going to switch to sit to stand. And just like lying to sit or sit to lying, we're going to basically begin from a position that we're comfortable seated, and then using different body parts and different movements with our body, try to get ourselves up to a position of standing. So you can do this more incrementally to avoid sudden muscle strain. Oops. Or tripping on mics. And then just being careful as you're standing up if this is not something that you're accustomed to doing. Trying to switch on each side with every repetition so that your body can warm up fully. And if you are accustomed to this exercise, it's also possible to do this with no hands, using only the core. For an extra challenge, you can have your arms out to the side. So after completing the laying to stand, or the laying to sit and the sit to stand, we're going to move on to kneeling to plank. So from a kneeling position, if you can, starting with your hands on your knees, placing both palms flat on the ground, and making sure that you are holding your core as you press down so that you don't actually have any weight on your wrist. This way you can assess whether or not you have joint pain as you're doing this. And if you do have joint pain, then this is going to be the only step that you do. As you can see, you can still work out your core just by holding it like this and then gently pressing without any weight, and then lifting up and then back to neutral. So if you don't have any joint pain and you want to try the next step of the challenge, from this position, we're now going to still mostly have our control from the core and walk with our hands forward. After about 4 steps of the hands, the weight will transfer towards the wrists as the shoulders go over top of the hands. The knees at this point should be about square with the hips, and the head is just neutral, facing down towards the ground. From here, we're going to return back to the original position by crawling with our hands back to that spot, and just repeat this for a total of 4 times. And at the end of each movement outwards, we want to brace a little bit, like in a real plank, and then exit the brace before returning back to our starting position. And whenever coming back to the original position, make sure not to sit on your heels to avoid any tendon problems, as we're actually trying to use the back muscles to be able to hold our body up and our core muscles to prevent our body from moving downwards. So now that we're finished here, we're going to enter a slightly expanded plank with the hands at the shoulder level but slightly wider than before, and the knees spread apart at the same level as the shoulders, with one knee closer to the front than the other. From here, we're going to lower the elbows to the ground, keeping the head facing towards the ground to avoid any compression in the neck. And then slowly bring one arm towards the inside part of the chest of the knee that is closer to the front, and push, using the opposite arm to continue increasing the leverage. Then going back down and moving back, and push So at this point, this is going to be the arm that's doing most of the work, with the rest of the body helping it to move towards this direction. Inhale, exhale. And you should only do this if there is no wrist pain from the initial kneeling to plank exercise. So if having your palm straight forward is also uncomfortable, it's possible to have it further out with the palm more spread out, but don't turn, otherwise it does create compression in the wrist. And use the leverage of momentum to actually initiate the movement. So in this case, I actually rolled my body all the way to the other side, and this arm was already up, and then I just used this part of my body to actually raise myself and also push off this hand. So now switching. And last one. And then back to a plank, and entering the seated position. So the next set of exercises is going to strengthen the mid-back muscles in order to allow the shoulder blades to sit against the rib cage comfortably, allowing it to release the tension from the upper back as well as the shoulder joint. So in this exercise, we're going to focus on bringing the shoulder blade towards the spine, like this. And then in the next part of the exercise, we're going to focus on bringing these muscles of the shoulder blades right underneath the side of the shoulder blade near the armpit into pressing against the rib cage itself. So the movement looks something like this, where we start with our palms up and then turn it in so that they're facing out, and then back down, and then lifting up the arms towards the ceiling in an opening posture. So during this time, there are 3 movements happening. The first movement is engaging those muscles. As I rotate the arm like this, there's going to be a slight tension occurring at the back. And in turning it outward again, while still holding on to this tension, is going to create an even sort of pull in this middle shoulder area. So inhale and exhale, pulling the shoulder blades towards the spine, and then pushing or pulling the shoulder blades against the rib cage. So inhale, pull the shoulder blades towards the spine, and pull the shoulder blades against the rib cage. So in the first portion, as I'm doing the movement, I should be able to feel contraction over in this area here. So pulling the shoulder blades towards the spine, and then from here, I'm going to want to feel the contraction or the pulling in this area against my ribs, like this. And together it'll look something like doing this 3 more times. And last one, pulling the shoulder blades and against the ribs and relaxing. And the final exercise concludes with moving the arm in a position kind of like we're reaching across towards a holster, and then turning the thumb away from the body, creating some tension here, then squeezing the shoulder blade towards the spine, and then squeezing the shoulder joint muscles of the rotator cuff to complete the rest of the movement. So inhaling, exhale, inhale, exhale, and last one, inhale, exhale, and switching sides, inhale, exhale, so just being mindful of only moving as far as is comfortable for your joints without there being any pain in these areas. And only moving to the appropriate ranges of your body. So once again, with their arms turned inwards across the body, turning the thumb away from the body, pulling the shoulder blade towards the spine, and contracting the rest of the way with the rotator cuff muscles. And 2 more, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. If you enjoy these exercises, make sure to check out the complete practical mobility set. And if you found these exercises to be slightly too challenging for you at this time, make sure to check out the complete practical strength exercise set. Hi, I'm Mara, and I'm a registered massage therapist based out of Waterloo, Ontario in Canada. If you found this video to be helpful for you, please consider sharing it with someone that you might think would benefit from this. And if you would like my help in person, I would be more than happy to help you on your journey, so feel free to reach out.